Good morning, dear students. So, in this semester, we are starting Chemical Engineering Thermodynamics course online. For this course, we have 6 units involved in this subject. Unit 1 is Basics of Thermodynamics. Unit 2 is Compression of Fluid. Unit 3 is Refrigeration. Unit 4 is Solution Thermodynamics. Unit 5 is phase equilibria and unit 6 is chemical reaction equilibria. So remember in this we are studying different aspects of chemical engineering thermodynamics, and in this we are looking at how your solution or different system behaves ideally or non-ideally, right? And at the same time how this will be useful at industrial level, and this is very important. So in this case, I will start with first topic. So that is, you can say, scope of thermodynamics, right? So we have to see, that means how this will be useful in chemical industry. I will start with first, you can say, definition of thermodynamics. So thermodynamics is defined as a science of energy. So name thermodynamics stems from Greek word thermi, that is heat, and dynamics, that is power. So these are very two important parameter. Many times you can calculate heat and work power, right? So that's why it is thermodynamics. So it clearly depicting the early efforts to convert heat into power. Now, if you see, there are different energies available. So one of them is, you can say, heat, right? Others, you can say, kinetic energy, potential energy, internal energy, that you must have studied. But here, conversion of your heat into power, that is very important. Best example is, you can say, power plant, where burning of coal is done, and we are looking for then formation of steam, because burning of coal will give heat, and that heat is utilized for uh, generation of steam, and that steam is used for the generation of power. So this is done by Carnot, right? So well-known scientist. So as per his statement, steam power already had many uses: draining water from mines, then you can say forging irons, then you can say grinding grains, you can say spinning and weaving cloth, right? But it is inefficient, because you cannot convert all heat into work. It's very difficult. That's why we are studying this. So definition of engineering thermodynamics. So this subject, you can say, deal with study of science of thermodynamics and its usefulness of the science in the design of each and every process uh, and devices or system involving the effective utilization of energy and matter for the benefit of mankind. This is very important. So here we are looking for study of the science behind this thermodynamics and its usefulness, right, in designing of different processes, equipments, because every time this thermodynamics plays very important role in the development or the design of this particular system, because it limits the, you can say, it has upper limit or you can say lower limits. So this will you can say, many times we are saying Gibbs energy change is negative. You must have seen this earlier, right? Then you can say reaction is feasible, right? But when it is feasible, when delta G is equal to that change is negative, then it is possible. That means it is defined by thermodynamics, right? So it will add constraint in its application. That means we have to design the process according to these thermodynamic rules. So here important thing, heat, work and energy. So this is very important. This you can call as triad of thermodynamic. uh, Matter plays very important role, no doubt. Okay, and thermodynamics is only concerned with microscopic, large scale, microscopic, macroscopic is, you can say, large scale changes and observation. These are the inspiring words by Albert Einstein. I want to become useful person, not a successful person. This is very important. Remember how you are useful for the society, for your parents, right? So this is very important. Successful person, this is for yourself only, right? So you must be useful for others, right? Being you can say, when you are becoming chemical engineer, right? So here we have to see, that means uh, how useful you are for society, industry, right? And why they should hire you, that is very important, right? So remember, so whatever you have studied earlier, that might be useful, but you have to see this thermodynamic subject in different way, in chemical engineering point of view. Then and then only it will be useful for you, right? So ask what he meant by it, right? So it is very important. Okay, a successful person is one who takes from society more than what he gives it. This is successful. That means many resources you are using from society and it is for yourself only. That is successful person. And useful person, he gives more to society than what he takes from it. That is important. So thermodynamics beyond engineering, you can say human thermodynamics, right? It is the study of heat and work transformation involved in the process of human existence. Okay, and chemical engineering, chemical thermodynamics. It is invented by Gibbs. The scientist is very important, right? He has done good work. And what he says, you are big, you are a big chemical reaction. Everything you say, all that you do, all that you see, decide or remember, think or feel is nothing but the demonstration of chemical reaction. That is you. Remember, your human body is a complete chemical engineering. No doubt it is limited by again thermodynamics. You are starting with eating food, right? Chewing that, so grinding process, mechanical operation subject is there, right? Then it is conveyed, right? It goes to stomach. So first stomach is, you can say, it is mixed flow reactor, this is biochemical reactor, right? Digestion will start, right? And product is absorbed in your blood. Then there is a plug flow reactor, it is tubular reactor. Waste treatment is there. Then you have well controlled control system, that is brain, right? It controls everything. He controls every movement of your body, and strong control we have, right? At the same time it will give different control signals. Then your heart, it is running, it is pump, right? It is running, I think, 100 years, for 100 years, right? So then you can say your pipelines, piping structure is excellent in your body, right? Everywhere veins and arteries are running, right? They are carrying bloods. Then you can say your lungs, it is very good reactor again. Absorption system also, right? You are taking oxygen, at the same time it is releasing carbon dioxide, right? So then you can say it is in fraction of second again, remember. Then you can say your kidneys, right? Best membrane systems, there is no need to replace cartridge here, right? So this cartridge will run for 100 years, right? But nowadays it might be reduced, but this is what we have. So that is you as a, you can say, chemical engineering. So if you see thermodynamics vision of science and engineering, primitive concepts, so you are preparing, putting some concepts there. right? Secondary concepts, so there is some evolution, right? Some thinking is there, thought process is there. Then you can say proposed theory, concrete theory you can say. Then you can say test theory. Test means we have to see how it is working. Experiments we have to carry out, and then we have to see it is okay, it is feasible there. Then accept theory. After validation only you can accept that theory, right? So then you can say particular relations. After theory you can enter into mathematics and put some relations for that, equations for that, right? And then some engineering relations. Why engineering? Because that should be useful for designing of some devices, equipment, right? Then industrial process. From that you can develop industrial processes which are feasible at large, right? And finally that process, that means you are giving some product to society, right? So that is you can say important thing, right? So then we have to see the application of thermodynamics. We have to see the available resources. What are those? Energy, matter, right, etc. What we have from this matter. At the same time we have to see the thermodynamic laws and information what we have devised earlier. Other engineering sciences, right? So that all is added into engineering of thermal processes, devices and system, because it depends on that. Okay, what are these resources, what are the thermodynamic laws and information, then what are the engineering concept, what are the science behind, what is science behind that, right? Then is design meeting human needs. That means after engineering and whatever device you have developed, how this device is very important, right? Useful for you can say society, right? So then if it is no, that means then you have to go back again and see what changes you can do there. And if it is okay, now it is okay, task completed, right? So this is, you can say, application of thermodynamics, right? And at the same time social science and humanities is very important nowadays. Remember, that means task completed. If you are creating a bomb, so this is not useful, it is not useful for society, right? So that is killing human being. So we have to see the social aspect there, ethics, values, right? So with engineering we need to study these aspects. That is very important, remember. So thermodynamics, uh, science of this thermodynamics born in 19th century, right? Which was used for explaining heat engine, right? Heat engine, or you can say steam engine. At the same start, steam engine is was there. Then it was applicable from for converting heat from power. That means you want to get some power, and that is from heat. So that's why heat engines are developed there. Then definition of this different laws. Because of this we have some first law of thermodynamics, then second law of thermodynamics, also we have third law of thermodynamics, right? So these laws lead to development of network of equations, and then these equations are useful for the all branches of science and engineering, no doubt. Everywhere you will find this thermodynamics. So chemical engineering, thermodynamics, you can say here chemical engineers facing variety of problems. So what are those? Calculation of heat and work requirement for physical and chemical processes, because many physical and chemical processes are taking place in and that's what we have seen, right, in chemical engineering. Or you will see that because now course is started. So in mass transfer, in heat transfer, right, in fluid mechanics, everywhere you will find its application. Reaction engineering, right, another one. So then remember, in chemical engineering equilibrium is very important, right? It decides. That means suppose if you apply cooling tower, or you can say coolers what you are using, right, in summer in Nagpur region. So if you apply these coolers in Mumbai, I don't think it will work there because water vapor content in air is higher. So we have to see the partial pressure of water vapor in air, and if it is equal to, we can say, vapor pressure of that water, so it is very difficult to transfer this, you can say, convert water into vapor. It is very difficult. But in Nagpur region, it is dry, right? Humidity is less. So in this case, uh, some of the water gets evaporated during this cooling process. That's why you can say sensible heat present in water is converted into latent heat, and it is lost in the form of vapor. So that's why your temperature of water is decreased and air also decreased, because sensible heat is taken from air as well as water. So, but if equilibrium condition is reached, you cannot transfer the material after that. It is not possible, right? Net transfer is zero. So that's why these equilibrium conditions are very important here. So then it will be in chemical reaction engineering also. So we have to see in chemical reactions, some reactions are at equilibrium. So you can say reversible reaction, irreversible reaction. So equilibrium is very important here also. So that's why you are seeing delta G0 is equal to minus RT ln K. So minus RT there. So you can say delta G0, that standard Gibbs energy change, that should be equal to negative. Then you can say it is spontaneous. So all this comes from these equilibrium conditions. So that's why we have to see this. This is very important. Another aspect. Then you can say this chemical engineering thermodynamics, it will not involve in developing some rate correlations, right, which will define rates of physical and chemical process. So that can be done in fluid mechanics, you can do in heat transfer, that you can do in mass transfer, as well as in reaction engineering, right? Then these are depends on different driving forces and resistances. What depends on these driving forces and resistances? These rates, right? Rate of, we can say, physical or chemical process, right? So driving forces are considered to be thermodynamic variable, but resistances are not. So that we have to see. Then knowledge of microscopic behavior of matter is useful in the calculation of thermodynamic properties. So microscopic behavior, that means you have to see the interaction between the molecule. It's very important, right? So that's why your ideal gas law, then van der Waals equation of state, right? So this will get changed. That means you have to see the microscopic behavior of this material. Then these are useful in practical applications of thermodynamics, okay? And in chemical engineering, we are dealing with several chemical species. That means we are talking about multi-component system. We are not talking about single. It is not a single homogeneous single component, right? So many times we are dealing with multiple components, such as you can see we have reactant, 2-3 reactants are entering in reactor, and some products are there. So at the same time, suppose 2 reactants and 2 products, so 4 components are there. So always we are talking about multiple components, right, and their mixtures, right? And many times these mixtures may be miscible, immiscible, because sometimes you will have gas phase, sometimes you will have liquid phase, or combination of these, or liquid such as oil and water system, right? So we have to play with this, and many times experimental data is unavailable. That means you have to work on that. You have to find out this, right? So with this, we will see again. We'll start with this. That is fundamental and derived quantities, right? So fundamental dimensions already you must have discussed, studied in earlier course. That is length, which is measured in meter. Basic other units are also available there. Times, it is in second. Mass, it is in kilogram. Temperature, it is in Kelvin, and amount of substance, that is in gram mole, molecules, right? So these are, you can say, fundamental dimensions. here amount of substance, that mass, and this is in kilogram and this is in gram mole, right? So what are the derived quantities? First one you can say force. Force, it is SI unit. Okay. uh, so here its unit is Newton. SI unit is Newton. Its symbol is N, and it is derived from second law, Newton's second law, right, which expresses force as the product of mass and acceleration. So it is written already, you must have studied this earlier. So F is equal to m into A. So it's a simple equation you will have, and Newton is defined as the force which, when applied to to a mass of 1 kg, produces acceleration of 1 meters per second square. So thus Newton is a derived unit representing 1 kg meter per second square. So this is equivalent to Newton, right? Downward side. So here, so what will happen? This will go down. So here volume will decrease, right? So force is acting, from top to bottom, but in case of expansion it is in upward direction. So if you see this here, the force exerted by the piston on the fluid is equal to the product of piston area and pressure of that fluid, what we are taking there. Okay, and displacement of piston is equal to the total volume change of the fluid divided by the area of piston. So that's what I discussed in earlier slide. So volume displacement is nothing but volume change divided by the area what we have. So here if you see, equation will be dW is equal to minus PA. Minus PA is what? It is force F, right? P is Newton per meter square, so multiply by area. So it is force into D differential of V volume, that is total volume, superscript T indicates total here, divided by area. So volume upon area is displacement here, right? So here A will get cancelled anyway, it is constant there. So it will get as a minus P dV superscript T, right? So that is minus P dV. So if you integrate this, you will have dW. It is not dW, it is W is equal to integration V1T to V2T P dV. So here work is positive if you can say work if positive, so it is due to negative change in a volume. So here what will happen, if there is a compression, your final volume is less, initial volume is more, right? So initial minus final, if you get, so that will be your negative change here, right? And its displacement are in same direction, so in same direction it is going, so that negative sign retains there, and previously negative sign, so negative negative gets positive here. And work is negative due to positive change in volume, so initial volume is less and then final volume is more, so then it is negative change, positive change here, right? And displacement is in opposite direction, so expansion, so opposite direction, force is in different direction and volume change in opposite direction. That's why, so you will get negative sign there also, so that's why again dW is equal to that negative sign it is considered, so it will be taken. So next parameter what we have, that is you can say energy. Energy is nothing but capacity to do work. So that's why you are saying the energy level of that person or is more or something like that. So it is different for different person here. Okay, so in this case energy can be exist into numerous forms, many forms what we have studied or you have discussed. So first you can say thermal energy, then mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is a top quality energy what we are considering. Kinetic energy, potential energy, then electrical energy, magnetic energy, chemical energy, nuclear energy, all these what we have studied. Their sum constitutes the total energy on, you can say, unit mass basis or mole basis, no doubt, of that system. So system may contains internal energy, kinetic energy, potential energy. So total addition is total energy of that particular system, right? sum of all microscopic forms of energy called as internal energy of the system. So it is at molecular level. So, so this general principle of conservation of energy is established in 1850, right? Then it follows, you can say, Newton's second law. So motion, once work is defined as a product of force into displacement, and thereafter, so in applied mechanics, it was applied by Galileo and Newton, right? So then we will see the different forms of energy. First, you can say kinetic energy. You already must have studied this. You have seen this. So here, when a body of mass m acted upon the force F is displaced by a distance dl, right, during a differential interval dt, right, then work is written by the equation, that is dw is equal to F into dl, force into displacement, that is work. So in combination with Newton's second law, you can have F is equal to ma. So you can put dw is equal to ma into this dl. So by definition of acceleration, you can say acceleration is change in velocity with respect to time, right? So du by dt. So where u is velocity and t is the time here. So if you add this acceleration du by dt here, so then you can rearrange this. So m into dl by dt into du, and dl by dt is nothing but again a velocity, right? So you can add this as a dw is equal to m into u into du, and if you integrate this from u1 to u2, so you mass you can keep as a constant, so u1 to u2 u into this, so it is m bracket u2 square by 2 minus u1 square by 2. So simply you can say w is equal to m u2 square by 2 minus m u1 square by 2. So it is a delta change, m u square by 2. So here you can say each of the quantity is nothing but half mu square, right? In above equations, which is nothing but your kinetic energy. It is different here. This is the term introduced by Lord Kelvin in 1856. So thus by definition, Ek is equal to half mu square. That is, you can say, kinetic energy. Right? So this equation shows the work done on a body in accelerating it from initial velocity u1 to final velocity u2, and it is equal to the change in kinetic energy of body, right? So if moving body is decelerated by the action of resisting force, the work done by the body is equal to its change in kinetic energy, right? So so unit for this is again joule, right? So kg meter square second inverse second kg meter square per second square. So it is 1 Newton meter. So it is nothing but again you can say joule here. Okay, so because kg meter, yeah, this is okay. So next is potential energy. When a body of mass is raised from initial elevation z1 to final elevation z2, an upward force at least equal to the weight of the body is exerted on it, and this force moves through the distance z2 minus z1. So because the weight of body is the force of gravity on it, so the minimum force required is given by Newton's law. So it is F is equal to ma, and a is replaced by acceleration due to gravity, so it is F is equal to mg. So g is local acceleration of gravity, and the minimum work required to raise the body is the product of this force and change in elevation. So it is W is equal to F into Z1 minus Z2 minus Z1. So it is force is your mg, mass into acceleration due to gravity. So it is mg bracket Z2 minus Z1 here, right? So you can get this W is equal to m Z2g minus m Z1g, and that is nothing but your mg delta z, right? So from this equation you can say work done on a body in raising is equal to the change in the quantity mzg, right? And if you see conversely, if the body is lowered against the resisting force equal to its weight, right? The resisting force will be its weight, right? So the work done by the body is equal to the change in the quantity mzg, right? So each quantity you can say mzg, you can say it is a potential energy. So by definition you can say ep is equal to mzg, and its unit is again joules, right? So next comes energy conservation, right? The work done on accelerating body produces a change in its kinetic energy. So W is equal to delta EK equal to delta half mu square. So this is the change what we are expecting here. And work done on a body in elevating it produces a change in potential energy, that again equivalent to work is equivalent to EP here, that is delta change mzg, right? So on simple case, so for these definitions, right, that the elevated body allowed to fall freely without any friction, without any resistance, gains its kinetic energy what it loses the potential energy. That means here potential energy converted into kinetic energy, because nothing to lose there, because there is no friction, there is no resistance. So mathematically you can say delta ek is equal to delta ek plus delta ep is equal to 0, because so whatever lost by, that is kinetic energy is lost, that is gain, that is potential energy will increase like that only. So it is a direct conversion from kinetic energy to potential energy. So its addition, total energy remains same. So change in total energy is 0. So total energy is what? Kinetic energy and potential energy, its addition, right? So that is total energy, it remains same there. So change in kinetic energy, here you will find there is a negative change, and change in potential energy, here you will may get positive change, but quantities are same with different sign. So that's why it becomes 0 here, right? So simple equation here you will get, that is already. Then heat. So at the time when this principle of conservation of mechanical energy is emerged, heat was considered an indestructible fluid called caloric. So this concept was firmly given, and it is limited the application of energy conservation to the frictionless mechanical processes, right? So such limitations is now long gone. So here heat, it is like work, is recognized as a energy in transit. So, so a simple example here you can say braking in an automobile, right? When the speed is reduced by the application of brakes, heat is generated by friction, is transferred to the surrounding in an amount equal to the change in the kinetic energy of the vehicle. So that heat generated is also equivalent to, you can say, change in kinetic energy of that vehicle, and which is transferred to the surrounding. So another experience what we have hot object, right, and which is brought contact in contact with cold object, right? So what will happen? So hot object will cool down, right? And whereas your cold object becomes warm. So in this case something is transferred from hot object to cold object, right? So which is nothing but heat q, that something is heat q, right? Thus we say that heat is always flows from higher temperature to lower one. This lead to the concept of temperature as a driving force for the transfer of energy as heat, right? So if we have delta T more, there will be more transfer of heat. So when no temperature difference exists, no spontaneous heat transfer occur. That is the condition of thermal equilibrium. That means temperature of both the body or both the region, it is same. So that's why it is thermal equilibrium. Then you can say in thermodynamic sense, heat is never regarded as being stored within a body. So like work, it exists only as a energy in transit, right, from one body to another body. Or you can say in thermodynamics, it is from system to surrounding or surrounding to system. So it is always in transit. It is not stored, right? It will not remain there. So when energy in the form of heat is added to the system, it is stored not as heat but as a kinetic energy and potential energy of the atom and molecules making up the system, right? So that means when you add heat, it will not remain, that means in substance it will not remain as a heat, it will be in kinetic energy or potential energy at atomic level, molecular level, right? Which are making that particular system, that substance, and finally system. So that's why it is not stored as a heat, it is stored as a energy. It may be a kinetic potential. Okay, so you can say best example, if you have kitchen refrigerator, if you see it is running on electricity, that must transfer their energy to the surrounding as a heat. If you see backside of your refrigerator, it is always hot, right? Because it will take energy from inside and reject the energy at higher temperature at outside. So that's why it is always hot, right? So this is what we have. So this is best example, or you can say room air conditioner, it is same thing, right? So it is also, you can say, extract energy from a room, and it rejects the energy at outside, right? So that's why you will get a cooler feel, that means colder feel in your in spite of transit nature of this heat, it is often viewed in relation to its effect on the system, right, from which or to which it is transferred. So this is what we have, with the heat now understood to be form of, this is again a form of energy, so unit will be again joule here, right? So power is nothing but your watt, its symbol is W, right? uh, and this is defined as energy rate of 1 joule per second. This is joule per second, so that is watt. Now looking at these derived quantities, we have seen work as one important thing, then power, or you can say heat is very important thing, right? Before that you can say other derived quantities we have seen there. Now if you come to the system and processes, here you will find these are very important in chemical engineering, right? That means system, if you see, it is in thermodynamics a substance or group of substance in which we have special interest is called as system, right? That means you can say a reactor, that reactor, what is it happening inside is a system, right? And outside part is a surrounding here, right? Very simple case here, right? So that means it is a part of universe which is set apart for our special consideration, special interest. It may be a reaction vessel or distillation column or a heat engine, right? Okay, and this you can say system here. And process is nothing but something is changing there inside that system, that is referred as process, right? So thus you can say hydrocarbon fuel and oxygen in combustion chamber, right? So combustion chamber is a system, but what is there happening there? hydrocarbon fuel is going inside, oxygen is there, so there is a combustion reaction taking place, and because of that heat is evolved, some temperature rises there, pressure rises there, right? Something is getting changed, that's why it is called as process. That means something is getting changed in a system is a process. So what is the surrounding then? Surrounding is part of universe outside the system and separated from the system by the boundary is called as surroundings. So we have seen systems. So reactor, outside reactor is a system, and it is defined by some boundary. So boundary maybe you can say physical or imaginary, right? You can draw some imaginary view so that you will have an imaginary boundary. So that will separate your system from surrounding. Or you can say it is physical. It might be rigid or movable, no problem, right? Balloon. If you put air in balloon, so your boundary is flexible here. But in case of reactor wall is fixed, it is rigid boundary, right? So it will not move, right? So, but here always surrounding is considered in vicinity, immediate vicinity of that particular system, right? That means if you say reactor is kept in laboratory, and if you are measuring temperature far away from that reactor, it is not true, right? So reactor is cooled, some water bath you are putting there, right? So and then reactor is kept in water bath, so water bath is your surrounding, right? So because this water bath has direct effect on that system, on reactor condition, so that's why surrounding is always in quick vicinity of that particular reactor or that particular system. Or you can say shell and tube heat exchanger. You must not studied this, right? Heat exchanger, that means it is same kind of, there's a hot body is there, right? Or hot fluid is flowing through one pipe, and around that particular pipe some cold liquid is there, so cold liquid is considered as surrounding, and hot water which is flowing through the tube is considered as a system here, because it is the part of study. Then we have homogeneous and heterogeneous system. So here homogeneous system is also called as phase, because suppose if you consider water is completely homogeneous, right? You will not find any discontinuity in this water if you travel from one end to another end, right? Here properties are same throughout, right? And if it is there, some change is there, these properties might vary smoothly without showing any surface of discontinuity, right? So very simple here. Or you can say air, dust free air, it is a homogeneous system, because you will not find any change in properties there. That means like you can say temperature or pressure or other properties what we are measuring, so all are remain constant. Or okay, then heterogeneous system is nothing but there is a drastic change, sudden change you will observe. Suppose if you have oil and water system, if you start traveling through oil, you will get a properties of oil, but at the interface of oil and water, you will find there is a sudden change in properties. So as soon as you cross this interface, you will enter into water, and so you will get a water property. Initially you have oil property, and second you have water property, because these are immiscible. So that's why heterogeneous system which consists of two or more distinct homogeneous regions, right? That means you can say water is one homogeneous region, oil is another homogeneous region, right? And you will find there is a sudden change in a property as a phase boundary. The layer which is separating oil and water, that layer, just if you cross that, you will find there is a change in properties, right? So best example, a liquid mixture of benzene and water is a heterogeneous system. Water and water vapor taken in the closed container is another example of heterogeneous system, right? So many you will find there. Now closed system, you must have already discussed this, studied this. Closed system is a system that can exchange energy with surrounding, but but which cannot transfer matter across the boundary, known as closed system. So very simple. Energy can be transferred, matter cannot be transferred. Open, both can be transferred here, right? It can exchange matter as well as energy. Okay, so some examples are there. You can say batch reactor is a closed system, right? While tubular reactor, that means flow is there, continuous input and output is there. This is an open system. Best example here, right? So this will be your first lecture today. We'll continue this in next session, right? So till isolated system we have discussed this. Just go through that, and if you have query we can see this in interactive session. Okay, thank you.